Hey there, Sagittarius. It's Jen here from tarotspirit.net. I'm doing your June 2019 reading, and I'm sitting here shuffling, and cards started coming out, so it's time to start the reading. So we have a full moon in our sign. I'm a Sagittarius. This month, let's see, the new moon in... It's weird. I wrote Libra, but I think it's Gemini. Why did I write Libra? Just a minute. Yeah, it's a new moon in Gemini. It's odd that I wrote Libra. On June 3rd, and then a full moon in Sagittarius on June 17th. Oh. Guess I can just turn them over. 8 of Cups. 5 of Swords. 7 of Cups, the Magician. 4 of Swords. 7 of Swords, the World. 9 of Cups. And the Page of Pentacles. Okay, the Knight of Swords at the bottom of the deck. So the Knight of Swords, knights are a lot of energy of the suit that they're in. So swords is mental energy. And so we have a lot of mental energy. And with all this focus in this element, it can usually indicate some sort of change. So some sort of change in our thinking this month, the way we're approaching something, and it could even be bigger than that, like a big philosophical shift. For example, I can remember a time at work where I was just like, I'm just going to stop. And this sounds wrong, but because I wanted to say I'm just going to stop trying, but it wasn't so much trying, but letting go of control. Like I'm going to stop trying, even though I could see the issues. I knew how to fix them because of my old job had fixed the things that this new place was struggling with. No one was interested in changing. They just weren't. And this is, I think, applicable as I'm talking to a personal relationship and trying to control or change. It doesn't work. So I see sort of like throwing your hands up and just like, I'm going to stop thinking about it. I'm going to stop trying to control it or change it or focus on it. But I think a good way is to be like, I surrender. I surrender to letting go of trying to influence an outward situation that isn't open to being influenced at the moment, right? We can only change ourselves just so hard because the older I get, the more it's like letting go. And I personally find myself in situations where I'm trying so hard. It's like, if you would just let me help you. And that's like, you know what? Just, Jen, just no one wants your help. Why do you think you know better than anyone else? And just mind your own business and let it go. So I feel like however you want to look at it or think about it or approach it, I think when this sort of snap, it's going to be sort of like, I'm done. I give up, this throwing your hands up. But I think then what we have to do is process it, right? And think about it, because this knight's going to think about it. And he's going to, or she, don't get hung up on gender, get to the realization that I'm surrendering, I'm letting go. This is not like, even though it may have felt like an anger or frustration, it's really a surrender and a stop putting so much energy into something um, where the energy's just going out. It'd be like having all your windows open and having the AC blasting on a hot day or whatever. It just a waste of energy. So you're going to recognize this waste of energy and stop wasting your energy. And it does require some of you to walk away. So I like to think, so cups is the suit of emotion. And the way I like to look at the Eight of Cups is like a slot machine. So, I mean, lots of us, if like I haven't gambled that much in my life, but I've done it maybe a handful of times. And when I go, if I play the slot machine, because I don't really know how to play anything else, I have, $40 and that's it. I have $40 I'm willing to blow basically. And that's it. And I'm not going to the ATM, and that's what I'm willing to risk. But it seems so much like with our emotional currency, with our feelings, our emotions, our that type of energy, we have a hard time setting limits. And so we get into these relationships where we're just giving and giving and giving. And again, it's that waste of energy going out towards something external that's draining our energy. And just like a slot machine, right? When we're fed up and we're having that throw your hands up moment I was just talking about, we get a little something, right? It gives you a little payout. It says the right thing. It does, the person says the right thing. I know that, or they apologize, or they do, and you're like, oh, okay. And you have that little bit of a honeymoon period. Oh, that high, yeah, I just won my $40 back, and then you're back to being drained again. So this is getting to having those boundaries and that self-respect to say, I am only willing to put this much of my emotional energy into the situation. And if it turns out to just be draining and it's not feeding me as well, then it's time to move on, to accept that I've spent what I'm willing to spend, and it's time to move on. So I see that happening in some area of your life. I also think this is going to be a month where we really, the Four of Swords is a lot of people, it's described like a recuperation after surgery, for example. But I like to look at it as meditation, and it's within this Four of Swords that you change this situation, the F it, and throwing your hands up in the air and like storming off, to I was trying to control it. Why was I wasting so much energy? I need to let go and surrender. Like it's the time where you shift that in your mind, and you get the perspective and you get the wisdom, and it goes from a very reaction. What's the word? I'm not sure I know the right word. It goes from being a reaction to wisdom, basically. And you can put it in perspective and grow and change and look at what you've done and why you allowed a situation to get to where it was. And it doesn't mean you did anything wrong, but it's just it's good to you're taking the time to process the situation. And there was just like, sometimes you have to draw a line in the sand, and it doesn't even have to be. I mean, this card is often someone who's going to win no matter what. I got sucked into that recently at work, where I was right. I know I was right. I could quote the policy. I was right. But everyone was like, just do what they say. Just do what they say. Why are you digging your heels in? And I'm still struggling with that one, because If they were right, then I have to change a bunch of other things but anyway, it was in the end, it was like, just do it and just move on with your life. So, that's the kind of situation. Is it worth being successful and letting go of being right or having to have things done a certain way? But there are times where you have to draw a line in the sand and say, these are my boundaries, this is my self-respect, this is what I will tolerate. And if someone crosses that boundary, then you have to have the self-respect to pack it up and head out. You know what this kind of reminds me of? The movie Wild, or it's a book. I didn't read the book, where she um, hikes the Pacific, what is it, Crest Trail? I might have that wrong. Maybe some of you are going to go backpacking, get out in nature this month. You need a break, get away, take a hike. She has very little baggage. Like she's shedding some of her baggage. She's only bringing one cup. Maybe, I think she's probably like going to just focus on her own emotional state and instead of trying to fill everyone else's cup and fill hers back up. Take that respite. Do some meditation. Recharge. Yeah, recharge their batteries. And it's really interesting. I think it's going to be a very creative time in, I almost said September, in June for us, because the Seven of Cups can often be read as like you don't know what to do. You have too many options. You're indecisive. You can't make a decision. But creativity, there has to be the time and space, or anything in your life, to make plans, to figure out what you want to do, where you want to go, what type of person you want to be with, what type of person you are, how you can improve a situation. No matter what it is, you need to take the time to daydream and think and explore your options and all those things. Someone who's going to write a book, I don't, maybe they do, but I don't think they just sit down and write. Like they have to have that space, that creative space, to daydream and think about different options and allow that creativity, wherever creativity comes from, to come through. So taking the time this month to sit with things and be okay with not doing, in order to act. I definitely see, I think job related things, people are going to be actively getting a new job or educating themselves to get a different job, something like that, applying for school or a certificate. There's all sorts of learning that can happen. All different ways to learn nowadays. I mean, geez, YouTube, you can even learn lots of stuff on. It's sometimes hard to translate into, jobs still, like, official. I keep saying, keep track of how many times I say, I worked with this doctor. He used to say vis-a-vis. Like, who uses vis-a-vis in a conversation? I counted once, he used it 9 times in a 40-minute meeting. Anyway, vis-a-vis something, something. Jobs like those official certificates or education. But maybe it's you want to tap more into your creative side, and just explore it. So there are tons of different ways to kind of honor and educate and fill your creative side this month. I think it might also be an opportunity, this throw your hands up moment, to maybe realize you've been forcing your life in a direction and putting yourself in situations where you do end up being frustrated because people would say that, that's the universe's way of saying you're going the wrong way. I'm putting an obstacle in your path because this is the wrong direction for you. You should be, it's not honoring your creative side or what you really want. You're doing it because out of obligation, you feel you have to, things like that. And then I believe, and it's probably that going to start shifting around that. Yeah, I'm educated. It's going to start to shift around the full moon in Sagittarius on the 17th. And so Sag, I'm not an astrologer, but I am Sagittarius. We like to explore. We like to be free. We like philosophy and learning and exploring. I think I said that already. New things. So it very much could be a shift where your life kind of does take a shift of letting things go and surrendering, not forcing things, and it may allow you. It's like once you stop kind of banging your head against the wall, this obstacle, and sort of turn around and say, okay, I have to go a new way. And then the world and we have the world sort of opens up to you, because instead of having tunnel vision trying to force a square peg in a round hole, you're like, wait a minute, do I even want to do this? Why am I spending so much time and energy on something I don't really even have my heart into? And maybe that's why I'm frustrated more than anything else. And the world opens up to you. So the world is a good way to think about it is like you're graduating from college, so it's the end of something, the culmination, but it's also a new beginning, and it's not good or bad. It just is. So it's like a new phase in life. You graduated from college, it's over. It was finite. It wasn't supposed to be any longer, and it's hard for us sometimes in relationships or jobs. That's really, in the grand scheme of things, the way it was. We just didn't know the end date, and it doesn't mean it was good or bad. It was like, okay, we learned all we could from that situation, and now it's time to move on. But I really feel like this is really going to open up a whole new phase of life because of this shift in our thinking that's coming from all the swords energy with that knight. And then we have these amazing, so we have the wish card, which I think is hilarious because it doesn't look like this guy is checking out her butt. Like, I know what he wishes for. But it's interesting paired with the 7 of Cups, where it's like, what do I want? What do I want? It's like you're finally ready to pick. She's shopping, she's buying, she's ready to decide where she wants to take her life. But what direction to go in. But I feel like that's going to be an energy we have still going into July. But I do see, I see us all of a sudden, like, just like super abruptly, and maybe it's that June 3rd new moon in Gemini. Like, we have this whole other side of us we've been denying. Like, I'm getting a new job. I'm putting my resume out there. I'm going to learn something new. Just like really seeing, I think everyone's going to be like, whoa, what's going on with Sag? Like, they're really making some major shifts, and other people may be sort of like, whoa, slow down. Like it may seem drastic, but you're going to feel free, but you're not restless. This is a very grounded energy. You really are being practical about it. They didn't realize how long and how deeply dissatisfied you were. And the magician is just saying you have all the tools, all the elements within you to create the life you desire. And this is definitely a new job. You may start your own business. Um, and there's a full moon in here. So for timing, again, that June 17th full moon. So YouTube full moon rituals, things like that, and really use that energy. Like sometimes we need to tangibly, is that a word? Um, to really, we can say, oh yeah, I'm over that, I'm over that. But sometimes I like the idea of, if you want to let something go, writing it down on a piece of paper, and then at the full moon, burning it or burying it or releasing it and letting it go, and planting those seeds for the new things you want to bring into your life. Sometimes you may have a better chance of really bringing those into reality by actually doing something and not just allowing it to stay up in your head like a thought. So write things down, get things in writing. If you are a writer, just start writing. Don't wait until you think you have the perfect idea or you've had it all planned out. This process can continue always, but it is time to take some action near the end of the month to really solidify that you're moving in this new direction, and that so you don't lose momentum. Yeah, what do you wish for? What's that thing that when it comes to your mind, society and our own ego makes you go, oh no, you can't do that. You can't afford it. You can't. You have the whole list of reasons why you can't. That's fear. Those aren't real reasons.